All right, we are 2 minutes to game time for our episode 50. What?
Episode 50!
It's episode 50.
Dude. Where are your shades?
Where are your shades?
There we go. There we go.
We were trying to pull one over on Nathan. He was having none.
Never. My man was ready.
Right there.
Nada. No, you're not gonna get me. I'm prepared. I'm a true professional. It's episode 50 on Ref the District. We'll get to that in a little bit. Countdown chatters for something non-Washington that we.
Antonio Brown, baby.
Antonio Brown's antics. What did you guys think of that? There was some back and forth. Found out that apparently he was injured and they wanted him to play in. You guys buying that? Is that smoke afterwards?
It probably is, but me personally, I don't. The way he did it, it's never been done. He didn't hurt anybody. He didn't injure anybody. He didn't do any obscene gesture. He just did what nobody else has done. He said he was done, or told he was done, and he left. Big whoop. Everybody's so sensitive nowadays. What was he supposed to do? Sit the rest of the game and pout on the sidelines? Then that would have been a storyline. So it is what it is.
I mean, he didn't retire during halftime. We have seen that before.
Well, that's fine.
He walked off like a child. He acted like a child. Brown. He quit on his team. And that's one of the worst things you can do in professional sports or in any sport, any level.
Yes.
People love him.
For all the kids watching and everybody wants to be a professional athlete, that was not the professional way to do it. But it's 2022 now. I mean, it's Antonio Brown. It was awesome. I applauded him for that. That was cool. It's never been done. He took his pads off. He kept his pants on.
He did do that. Thank goodness.
Okay, it's not like he walked out in his skivvies and the snow. Come on, cut the man the frig.
All I know is I don't want him here in Washington.
Bring him to DC. Bring him to DC.
Not gonna happen. What is gonna happen is episode 50 right after this.
I'm a pretty bad kid.
Yeah, let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the Wizards. Let's talk about the Nats and how they always got good pictures. Let's talk about the Cats who rescue, turn them boys to winners. Injuries and updates, oh yeah. To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah. To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah. I think it's something you should know, yeah.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 50 of Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry, and joining me, as always, it's my buddies. It's my co-host. We got Trev that way, and we got Stoner down here as well.
What's up, boys?
Episode 50. That's a nice little mark there. Joining us already on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Our P-Dub in the house. What's up? Hail to the Washington football team. Not too much longer. We're going to know what to put to the end of that HTT. EP's in the house, and Katie says, y'all don't look a day over episode 42.
That's a pretty good line.
I wonder why.
I'm not going to lie. That's a pretty good line.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Oh, my mom's in the house as well, saying hi, guys.
Hey.
It is episode 50. We got a great lineup for you. We're going to have more on the name release. In case you did watch the episode or the video of Trev and Stoner talking, there's been some more things that we're going to want to talk about that's happened since that video. During the game, we're going to be talking about the game against the Giants, and we're going to bring on a special guest there. It's Awthentik. That's right. You know him from Awthentik and The Beard and from Giant Overreaction. You can also check out his original music, including his latest project, The Color of Us, at authentic.bandcamp.com. More on that when he comes here for the game. And then cool down. Is Kuz the real deal? Ovi breaks the PowerPoint goal record, and more on All Bets Aside. Coming up here on episode 50 of Ref the District, we are sponsored by the Sky Bar. Hey. Check them out in Lexington when they open up here soon. Lexington, Virginia, you can catch that bar manager dancing over there as well. You know, probably feed him a few drinks and he'll be on top of his bar dancing. And then we're also sponsored by Pacers Running. For every run, they've got you taken care of. You know, those New Year's resolutions aren't going to run themselves. You got to put some good shoes on those feet.
That's true. That is
Pacers
very
Running
true.
will take care of you.
Yes.
EP calling out the new mic for Trev.
Yeah, I got a new mic on the 50th episode. Like,
Doesn't have to hold it anymore.
Nah,
No,
you can't even
So
see
good. It's so good.
it.
You two have had an opportunity to talk about the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys had a great discussion. So maybe I just get a little bit of time here.
All
I
right.
tell people that I'm psyched. I'm pumped. I'm excited. All right. I think this was the video it did exactly the job it needs to do. If Washington wins Saturday, I think people are going to be just super excited leading into Groundhog Day. I mean Sunday. You're correct.
I was like, we got to play Sunday. We got a Sunday game?
If they win Sunday against the Giants, this fan base is just going to love it. And it did one other thing. They let people know that the Red Wolves or Wolves are out of the picture. So it gives people a month to get over their feelings about that name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that was good. I think that there's some people who are then started to get upset about the fact that they used some of the clips from before. So like they knew this name 3 months ago because Rivera's in shorts and there's leaves on the trees. More than likely, they were just reusing video to make the promo video.
Tell you what, man, Twitter private investigators have the best job in the world.
They're all over the place.
They were
all over it. I'm happy about it. I'm rocking this is the last time that our team will be wearing this.
Yep.
As a merchandise and uniform. So that's pretty cool. This whole journey's been pretty cool. Something different. I'm looking forward to it.
It's been long. It definitely feels dragged out. But we tweeted that the hurry up and wait reminds us a lot of the military as Stoner is drinking with his retired Air Force mug here on camera.
When they did the timeline back to July of 2020, it didn't feel like it's been since July 2020. It felt like it was last July of 2021. Honestly, to me it did. But we've been through a whole year and a half with this. I'm surprised that they actually let us know, like they did. It was a really cool video they did. Props to them. That's something they didn't botch. That had to do with the fans, so that was nice. Like you said, I'm excited. All those color variations, supposedly, multiple uniforms. He said this is one of the main helmets. So, I mean, just listen to the verbiage used in the video. I'm hyped, guys. I'm hyped.
I get it. I'm the same way. I'm pretty hyped about it too. I think they did a good thing in letting us know early that Red Wolves is not going to be part of the name because make no mistake,
necessity.
The fans, a lot of the fans really wanted Wolves or Red Wolves, or
a rabid fan base, if you will.
Right. So they were kind of letting you down easy, so that you wouldn't have to.
Well, we actually have that.
That you wouldn't have to let it out right there all together at one time and disappoint. So people can kind of get it out of their system.
Yeah. They have a month to get that out of their feelings. Yeah. That's great.
And then that's fine. And I think probably what we've talked about a lot on this show, that after a while, it doesn't matter what the name is because no matter what, you're going to tick some people off. It doesn't matter. That's just life.
Just got to win games. Honestly, the more games they win, the more people will get to there. Whether or not it is, shout out to Andy and on our chat.
Andy Darbos,
who's bringing in the hail to the Commanders, which seems to be the front runner for people right now.
Yeah,
I'm not particularly fond of it, but I can, like you said, Stoner, I can get over that if they just start winning games. It looks like the uniforms are going to be straight fire. They're fresh.
Of course, they're definitely going to, no matter what. I think they're going to be because
I think
different.
And I put this out on Twitter, but I think that picture of Terry, Chase, and John Allen, that they were there for a photo shoot. I think that they put them in the 2-2-2-2 shirts. Yeah. But I think that they put on the uniforms to do a photo shoot. So I think those are going to be the first three players that we're going to see in the uniform.
And to piggyback from that photo, that's something we haven't really talked about all season. Chase Young, he looks, I mean, I know it's a lower leg injury, but it looks like he hasn't been taking a day off from upper body at least, or just, he looks still in shape. That's one hell of a brace he has on.
It is a serious brace on, but
he's not on crutches. He ain't holding, and one of the straps was undone. So like it wasn't even fully strapped. I mean, I was dissecting that joint. I really was.
I guess
you said look at the brace, and I was like, well,
people are dissecting the video, and Trev's out there checking out Chase's leg, which is fair because that's going to impact the game more than the name is, as will Andy's comment on the $60 million salary cap.
And when you saw that picture, it was like, oh snap, we have Chase Young. Like you kind of seriously, you kind of forgot that we had somebody of his stature.
He's been pretty quiet. Yep.
He has. Even when he was playing, he was quiet, but people still knew he was on the field. We knew he was on the field, but then like the way the season's played out with all the COVID, the tragedy.
Well, what I'm saying is he's been pretty quiet since getting injured. Like you haven't,
for sure.
He's not been in public eye. I think that he's focused on recovery. I think that he does want to come back next year.
It was just good to see his face. You know what I mean?
It was.
I agree.
You forget how big he is too. Like he's standing next to both of those guys, and he's dwarfing them.
I mean, he made John Allen look like a child.
Right.
He was. I mean, you know what I mean? John Allen is a monster.
Yeah,
and
dog.
He's standing next to Jonathan Allen, and I had to look at that, and I was like, "Is that Jonathan? He looks tiny next to."
That's another form of optimism they gave us.
So. Yeah, I think so. I think this whole thing, you can pick it apart all you want. And a lot of people are picking it apart with the name, with how they're doing it, with where they're going to do it on the Today Show rather than locally. And we don't even know that as far as exactly where they're going to do it. They know it's going to be on the Today Show, but they may be doing it broadcasting from locally and then just showing it on the Today Show. You can dissect that thing upwards, downwards, left to right, or whatever. It's a new name. We're all going to be out there standing in line, buying the gear, no matter what it is.
Who's your first jersey in the new name?
Whoever we draft.
Probably Kenny Pickett. Yeah, I'll probably have.
I haven't picked up my Tressway one yet. I think I might get a Tressway.
I would hold on to that until he gets his placeholding duty.
You guys, he will be back for the game Sunday, and this is a great transition into moving away from the name talk. Let's talk for this game Sunday.
I got a question though, real quick first. Sorry. Yeah. So do you want me to do my concession at the end of the show?
Oh, you're right. You said you had a concession. He has a concession.
Did you mean concession or did you mean confession?
No, concession.
No, it's concession. Like he's giving something up.
Yeah.
Damn.
Although I loved your popcorn line.
Yeah,
it was great.
I thought you meant confession and you accidentally typed concession.
No, it's concession.
I feel like an idiot.
All right, so
don't admit to it, Trev. That was just a fun little play on words.
It actually worked. It worked very well.
Okay.
All right, so this is on the name thing. That's why I want to get it out either now or at the end of the show before we move on to.
Let's do it now. We're no more name talk. We've been pretty staunch about that, as the name talk has been very limited on the.
But then you had that whole thing.
Oh yeah, this was big news to talk about. Sure.
All right.
So I need to. The first thing I need to do is I need to reinforce why I think it's going to be a certain name.
Legends.
Okay. Why I think
you're on the Legends train. Even though you first were on the Monuments chain. If it's Monuments, I'm going to lose my dang on mind. You will see a YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
We will be rich!
Of Jazzy recording me running around the house like a madman, laughing because it's Monuments after our video where we dubbed over.
That was a classic video.
And Ron Rivera. It was. It's great. And we just picked Monuments just as a joke. And if they pick Monuments legit, Jason Wright, you will be on this show. If it's Monuments, I'm telling you, you'll be on this show if it's Monuments.
Because you remember that one time I said, this is why it's going to be Monuments, and I really thought it at the time.
Stoner was honestly on the Monuments train for a long time.
Now you're on the Legends train.
He's on Legends, but he's making a concession.
Yes,
not popcorn, no nachos, not a hot dog.
So I want you to listen. I want you to listen to this part of the video.
What video?
Okay. From the Making the Brand video. Okay. And Mama Perry asked where you can find it. Just go to YouTube and search Making the Brand Washington. It'll come right up. So I'm going to...
It's just... What?
I froze. Did everybody freeze, or is it just me?
No, just you, sir.
No, you're not frozen on my camera.
There we go. Sorry.
Yeah, we can sit here.
All right, so here, let me play this part of the video. You ready?
Yeah.
Listen to what he's saying.
Washington is going to go with an interim name.
We are on the brink of starting a new chapter. But our history, our legacy, cannot be lost along the way. Now, more than ever, it's important that we stay connected to our roots. And nobody understands that more than Coach Joe Gibbs.
I just think the heritage and the history of our team is what's so important. And as fans, I think we're going to rally around that team.
Great job, Alex. Proud of all of you.
I'd say probably what's most important about us naming the team, it's trying to bring everybody together. Whatever the name winds up being, we're going to support those players and the coaching staff.
All those legends
in this room.
That's the one thing that we got going for ourselves is the loyalty.
I'm trying to
that we
think
have for
what
that
his
team.
concession's going to be.
I can't
Playing
wait.
the whole thing here. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
That's the clip. I was like, I'm watching that. I love the video. Not sure that I want to watch the whole thing as we do a podcast here because
do
Right.
it.
So that part was really important because it just talked about the heritage, the legacy, the history, and all of that, and that's why I think it's going to be Legends.
I agree.
And
with
I've thought that this whole time because they talked about rallying around what's important to this area, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's my concession.
Andy can't play QB.
You've been
Is
waiting
that
on
your
this for
concession?
10 years.
Okay, you see this? If it's
Okay.
Legends, right? And I hadn't thought about this, and I asked like Trev yesterday when we did that video. I said, "Hey Trev, why could it not be Legends?" And Trev couldn't come up with anything. And I think I've asked Nathan that, and Nathan couldn't come up with anything. And I've just figured out why it cannot be Legends. If you have Legends as your name, and the big L, the universal sign for loser,
It could be
everybody will use
Bro.
that against us.
Detroit Lions. Starts with an
That's
L.
not exactly a great one there. They have a lot of L's in their life. So.
Right. But you know how people are just gonna take that and they're gonna turn it on us.
We
and
can
say,
turn it right on there. Every time you win, you got the W.
Yeah. We'll win, and
Right.
it won't even matter. But if we lose, then that becomes a factor.
It is
Stu,
absolutely the most important
give me
thing is that
Legends.
you have to
Still
win
give me
on the
Legends.
field.
What's our mascot
Okay.
going to be if we're a commander? What's our mascot going to be?
Well, what's
Exactly.
our mascot gonna be if we're a legend?
A hog.
Well, yeah,
They're
but you can do that with
they're
commanders
legends.
too.
Our offensive line,
Listen.
the hogs,
Yeah,
are legendary.
I'm still going
It
with
goes
legends,
today.
but I
Me
thought about
too.
it today.
I'll go
and
with
it
you to
bothered
Looney
me.
Bin Center.
It bothered
Legends.
me with the big L, and I
That's
thought,
okay.
wow, they're just gonna.
We'll
use
be
that
losers
against us.
together, bro. We'll be losers together with that.
Okay. All right.
Give,
So
give
all right,
a
that was
couple
my
of shout outs.
concession.
We got Big Moves, the Hawk TV, and Clippy Tunes in the chat here. Hawk TV, the final game of the season is like the bartender announcing the last call for drinks. Hopefully, these guys will be drinking responsibly, of course, and decompressing, ready to right the ship in 2023. I think there's going to be a lot of Washington players who are geared up for this game because for a lot of them, this might mean whether or not they're sticking, with this ship or auditioning for another team next year. So it'll be interesting to see who they play and who they don't play
They'll play every night.
as this game. So I think for the most part, you have McLaurin, who is nearing his second 1,000 yard season. You have Gibson, who I think is too far away. He's 109 yards away from his
He ain't
first
getting that tomorrow.
1,000
It's
rushing.
Sunday.
I don't know that they're going to play him. He's
Yeah,
one
I
that
don't
they might not put some
Yeah,
more
no.
wear and tear on there.
If you're healthy,
but
you're playing.
McLaurin, I would not be surprised if they feed McLaurin, if they feed Terry just to get those 40 yards, to get his 1,000 yard season. That part I could see.
I think the whole team plays because we want to get a damn win. We haven't had a win in 4 weeks. And I think the starters who are left of the starters, they want to get that taste of a W again leading into the offseason. So I think we play every single person that we have on the roster at some point tomorrow. That's my opinion.
Well, I think at some point they're gonna try and get the younger players in, get them some more playing time to see what they've got with these guys. But hopefully they do it with a lead.
yeah,
Not
exactly.
do it when they're losing. But
Bro, we
they're going to
cannot-
do it. You're going to see a lot of players that you wouldn't normally see on game day. And that's
the
just
Nate
what happens
Sudfelds of the roster. Only this time the Giants
Kelvin
won't be going.
might get. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
You're not gonna be affecting the Giants' playoff chances. You're not gonna be affecting your own playoff chances. So you can basically do whatever you want.
But you want to win. It's just...
Yeah, of course, absolutely. You want to win every game. The draft positions will fall where they fall. Let's not get into trying to get a specific draft position, and then you end up with.
If you want a lower draft position, you just wish for the other teams to win. That will help your tiebreaker. You can cheer against your team.
If you lose on purpose and you end up with, say, the 10th pick, and then the quarterback of the draft gets picked at 9, so what good did that do you?
You guys.
So you just got to let it play out as it plays out. You always try to win. I can't stand tanking.
And I hate tanking too, and I'm not for it. But for those who are tanking, who want to tank, okay, cool. But we cannot do that against these New York Football Giants on Sunday because of how literally I'm not trash talking, but they're legit really bad. So
Joe Judge is pretty happy with where his team is. So at least
if our last we'll get to him in a second. If our last game was like Tampa Bay or the Rams or, somebody, a playoff team, then you'd be like, okay, yeah, it's a wash. Play Garrett Gilbert and play, whoever. Who cares? But these are the Giants who somebody put a stat on Twitter. They've scored 1 touchdown in the past 35 offensive possessions. 1 touchdown. If we tank against a team like that, if you want that to happen, remove your fan card right now and go be a Giants fan or anybody else because that's ridiculous.
But what happens if they try really hard and then they end up losing to a pathetic
Well,
Giants
at least
team?
we can be Ron Rivera and said, they put up a good fight and that's all we could ask for. So we got that to look forward
or
to.
Joe Judge, because that's what he's been saying throughout their losses as well.
He needs to put some pads on and get his ass
It's something.
You're a special teams coach, bro. Don't get it twisted. You're a special teams coach.
I can really appreciate him for invigorating the Washington fan base more than anything, because there was quite a few people who were on the tank crowd. Lose this game, get better draft position, and then Joe Judge comes out there and takes a swipe at Washington, and that's what got them pumped up. It doesn't take that to get me pumped up, but I'm happy that other people were just like, hey, you can't trash my team. Only I can trash my team.
I mean, especially if you, like the stat just said, 1 touchdown, 35 possessions, and you got the nerve to say our team has dysfunction. You guys are fighting in training camp with your starting quarterback at the bottom of the pile. Get out of here.
Running laps. Because of it.
Get out of here.
Running laps.
Well, we don't have Joe Judge with us, but we will have Awthentik on with us once we get to the game. I want to hear his take on Joe Judge. That's coming up here on Ref the District, episode 50, here on The Game. The Game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 6 stores in Northern Virginia and D.C. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running. All right, our guest tonight is the co-host of the best show not on television, Awthentik and The Beard, and co-host of Giant Overreaction. You can also check out his original music, including his latest project, The Color of Us, at authentic.bandcamp.com. We present to you for the first time, without the overlay on his face as well, and big screen, as we like to do it, with the round of applause. Absolutely. I do think this is standing ovation. Awthentik, we appreciate you jumping on here on Ref the District.
Yo, I had that
intro was fire, man. The intro was fire. I see y'all did a little bit of research.
Always doing research on our guests because you're a guest on our show, and we appreciate
y'all, man. Appreciate y'all having me on the show, and definitely been seeing y'all pop up in the chat and whatnot on our show. So big ups to that. Definitely appreciate y'all supporting our channel, man. You know how this works. One hand got to wash the other in this content creator domain.
That's right. That's exactly right. So let's get to the big question at hand. Is Joe Judge a clown in your guys' eyes, or are we on this side of the fence just kind of goofing on him because we don't really know him?
No, it's definitely starting to be a running joke now about Joe Judge, on clown status. I don't like to attack people too much like that, especially when they're working for us during the season. But it is what it is at this point. We're at our second season, and I think Giants fans now are just running out of patience here with coaches. We had Pat Shurmur there for 2 years, had to fire him. Right before that was Ben McAdoo, 2 years. They fired him a little bit premature, in my opinion, because our last real winning season was with Ben McAdoo. The famous boat trip team before the playoffs. I believe we were 10-6 back then. And since then, I mean, we've been pretty much the worst team in the league. So, a lot of cliches run around Twitter, especially. A lot of people like to say you can't keep firing a coach every 2 years. You don't want to end up like the Cleveland Browns, yada, yada, yada. But if it's not the right guy, then I think you got to get rid of him. And right now, at this point in the season, I'm feeling like Joe Judge is a guy that, deserves to get fired. And, we used Jason Garrett as a scapegoat mid-season. If they were going to do that, I thought they should have did that maybe a little bit later in the season. Now with Daniel Jones knocked out for the rest of the season, we've seen Mike Glennon, Jake Fromm get some snaps at quarterback. And in combination with Freddie Kitchens calling plays, it's really been a disaster. 2 games here back-to-back where our starting quarterbacks have thrown for under 25 yards. This last one was negative 10 yards if you add up all the yardage from the sacks that Mike Glennon took on the day. I think he was sacked like 4 or 5 times for like 25 yards, 30 yards. So, I mean, we're just running out of patience, man. This is you guys can relate to this too. And I live in Washington, D.C., so I know all about the Washington football team, formerly known as. But these are historic franchises. These aren't like – expansion teams from, a couple of years ago, anything like that. So there is reputation on the line here. The name of our show is The Best Division in Football for a reason. The NFC East owns all the championships as far as all the divisions go. Across both conferences, we own the most chips. So, we got to live up to that expectation. And, it hasn't been Giants football lately. So for me, Joe Judge, all the Harbaugh news came out this week. Saying that there's rumors that he would take a job with New York or the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm all for it, man. Harbaugh's been a winning coach his whole tenure with the San Francisco 49ers, never had a losing season. So, we need to get back to those winning ways. And I'll trade it off for, a lot of people like to talk about the culture. That's been one of Joe Judge's big things. It's like the culture in the locker room and all that. Even, in the 11-minute speech rant that he had the other day, said you don't see players with like golf clubs by the lockers and all this nonsense and whatnot. I think it's just time to just iron that all out, man. Bring in a new coach, possibly bring in a new quarterback. I know y'all looking for a new quarterback too, so y'all going to give us a little bit of competition.
You guys can keep your quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
don't bring him here.
He's been pretty average, man. But I will say, I try not to call Daniel Jones like trash, but he's been very average. I'd put him in that same status as a Taylor Heineke right now, maybe a bit under that. But he doesn't have a great supporting cast around him either. And when you got that kind of dysfunction in the organization, you fire your offensive coordinator who wasn't looking that great right after the bye, and then you bring in a guy like Freddie Kitchens. You could tell he wasn't ready to become the offensive coordinator for the rest of the season. So things are Giants went from looking like bad to looking really, really bad in the last couple of weeks here.
So yeah,
now you mentioned the Harbaugh thing. Sorry, Trev, but he mentioned the Harbaugh thing, so I wanted to ask there because it was publicly announced or made known that Joe Judge and Daniel Jones will be back next season. Do you not put any stock into that? Is that just some smoke and they would absolutely go for a guy like Harbaugh, or is he going to be is Joe Judge actually going to be coaching next year, and is Daniel Jones going to be the QB?
Yeah, I definitely read the reports about Joe Judge and about Mara committing to Joe Judge and Daniel Jones. But here's the thing, Mara has not came out and publicly backed that. So that makes it really interesting right there. And y'all saw some of that press conference the other day in the rant. That, to me, that doesn't look like a guy who has great job security. He's not looking too safe over there. As far as Daniel Jones, the money is already paid. That's how I look at it, right? So by May, you got to figure out if you're going to give Daniel Jones the 5th-year option, for the first-round draft pick. And I don't think the Giants are going to do that. So my thinking would be go out here. If you like any of these quarterbacks in this draft coming up in 2022, draft a guy, make it so he can at least sit behind Daniel Jones for a year. And then, the following year in 2023, you might have a starter. I'm looking to maybe catch a guy like Malik Willis in the 2nd round.
All right. So I know it happens to every team, injuries and COVID and everything this year, but let's just say none of that happened to the New York Giants or anybody's roster with all the free agents you signed this year. Kenny Golladay, you drafted Kadarius Toney. What were the expectations coming into the season, and then what's the problem over there in New York? But you said dysfunction. What's going on? Where's the main problem?
The main problem resides on the offensive line in New York, and, outside of the injuries, because the injuries have definitely been a problem. But entering this season, they just didn't address the offensive line. Last draft, nobody from the offensive line, no draft picks. And that's been kind of a Dave Gettleman staple. When he first got here, the first thing he said was, we're going to get the hog mollies, we're going to fix the offensive line. They invested some draft capital into the offensive line. It hasn't worked out. We've had some major injuries. We allowed Kevin Zeitler to walk. Shane Lemieux got hurt before the year. Nick Gates got hurt in the Washington game, week 2. I was out there for that one. And there's just been, at right tackle, it's been a struggle for the New York Giants with Nate Solder, who they expected to come back as a veteran and be able to play at least decent football. Something like what Cam Fleming was doing for the Giants last year. So it falls apart right up front. Now, when you got a quarterback who's not decisive, for me, the offensive lineman's best friend is a decisive quarterback. It's why Tom Brady is the least sacked quarterback in the year every year, because he gets rid of the ball very quickly. Eli Manning was very similar. A guy who, if it wasn't there, he was going to throw it away, find a way to throw it to somebody's feet. And Daniel Jones has not been that. Daniel Jones, he's been pretty much a one-read quarterback, struggles to scan the field, fast, and decision-making has definitely been his problem. He just doesn't know when to just, put the ball down, tuck it, and go. And ball security, we know about that from 2019. I mean, Daniel Jones had 19 fumbles in 2019. 5 of them were scooping scores. 11 of those were lost. I keep that stat in the bag because that's awful. You can't win games like that. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's been it's really been the offense. The defense has taken a step back, and I'm sure y'all can relate to this too, because last year Washington had the number 1 ranked pass defense throughout the whole entire year, all the way up until the last week. And y'all defense fared well, top 5 defense when the year ended. New York was a top 10 defense when the year ended. Secondary was looking good. James Bradbury was looking like a top cornerback in this league. But what I think a lot of Giants fans overlooked was we played against a lot of bad quarterback competition last season, Washington included. We played a lot of teams that had banged-up quarterbacks. You can't forget Dallas had Andy Dalton out there. We played you guys twice. There was, what's my man's name?
Haskins or Alex Smith.
What's the backup? Not Alex Smith, but Kyle Allen, sorry.
Kyle Allen, yeah.
We faced Kyle Allen once. We faced Brandon Allen when we saw Cincinnati because Burrow was out for that game. Mitchell Trubisky, Ben Roethlisberger. It was a bunch of just like average quarterback play that we faced, which in return made the defense look a little bit better. You go out there, you spend some draft stock on the offense. You get Kadarius Toney. He's been banged up the whole entire year. The kid can't stay healthy. You spent about $30 million on Adoree Jackson. He's been a bit of a letdown, and the Giants invested a lot of money in a bunch of injury-prone players when they were coming off a pretty injury-prone year, especially at the running back position with Saquon Barkley. So, all the fans and I guess the organization as well was just hoping that things would click together. But for that to happen, you got to have a quarterback that's going to be above the X's and O's. You saw that with guys in Detroit, Matthew Stafford with Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay led the league in touchdowns in 2019.
Yeah.
Comes over here to New York, and the kid can't score a touchdown. He doesn't even have a touchdown on the year. And that's been the case for the Giants wide receiver core for a couple of years now. This past season, the Giants have 3 touchdowns from the wide receiver core. Odell Beckham just went over there to the Rams. He only been over there for 7 weeks. He's got more touchdowns than the entire New York Giants wide receiver room. That's just unacceptable on the offensive side of the ball. So I don't know where they're going to start with addressing things. I think the panic move is going to be to go double dip on the offensive line in the draft. Can't forget we got 2 top 10 picks is what it's looking like right now. We got the Chicago Bears pick from last year. So they got a lot of draft stock. We're going to have 10 picks. 5 of them are inside the top 75 picks. Get a good GM in here. Get a good coach in here. Try to figure out a way to rebuild this team.
Well, you guys will be starting Jake Fromm this Sunday. Is there no one in their organization who believes in his ability as a QB, or is he just there for you guys? Kind of the same way we have in our quarterbacks room, Taylor Heineke, Allen, and Gilbert at this point.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. I think y'all have a little bit more stability at quarterback than we do, especially at this moment in the season with Daniel Jones out for the year. Mike Glennon was out there for a while, and he was a big letdown. But I think a lot of the mishaps that are happening at the quarterback position, especially with these backups in here, it's got a lot to do with the philosophy first that Jason Garrett brought over to New York, which didn't really match the personnel too well. You need a real offensive mastermind in New York to be able to find ways to get Saquon Barkley the ball in open space and be able to make plays. Instead, they kind of try to turn him into a a bit of a between the tackles running back and kind of try to turn him into Ezekiel Elliott, which that's not his style. And then, you know, coming off the knee injury, that doesn't work out well either. But as far as Jake Fromm goes, I mean, when he came in for the first drive, when we saw him the first time, he looked pretty good. He was in command. He ran a 2-minute drill late in the end of the game, drove the Giants down the field, got us in the red zone. And then you come back when they gave him the start. I mean, it was a horrible start. I think it was 6 of 17 for 25 yards, and that ain't going to get it done. But like I said, I think a lot of that's on the philosophy and on the game plans. Jason Garrett's game plan would match the philosophy a little bit better for a guy like Jake Fromm, because Jason Garrett's whole thing is, you know, 5-yard outs, stick routes, comeback routes, very short routes, 3-step drops. Freddie Kitchens is trying to take more of the plays from the playbook, from the philosophy from Jason Garrett, and do more 5-step drops, which when you got a terrible offensive line, that's not going to work. And a lot of Giants fans were hammering the point of, hey, we need to throw the ball down the field. We got Kenny Galladay, throw him some 50-50 passes. And it's hard to do that when you got a bad offensive line. And the Giants, I mean, I think it's very clear they got the worst offensive line in the entire league.
So, my bad, Stoner.
No,
what's going to happen for you guys to pull out the W on Sunday?
We got to get lucky, man, and Jake Fromm's going to have to just catch lightning in a bottle. That's all you hope for as a Giants fan here, because these weapons have not worked in this scheme all year long. There's not much to look forward to. I heard you say the statistic right before I came on about the 1 touchdown in 35 drives. Giants are dead last in red zone efficiency right now. They're 28th in red zone attempts. So I always talk about this with the red zone. You don't have to be the most efficient team in the red zone if you are maximizing your attempts. Early on in the year, the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills were perfect examples of this, right? Now, with the Giants, not only are they terrible with their efficiency in the red zone, they just don't get down there. Last game, we didn't even get down in the red zone one time. You look at the box, Mike Glennon was 4 of 11, and only 3 receivers registered a stat on the whole box score. I never seen nothing like this in my entire life.
That's wild.
You know, so I mean, I don't know where they start. They ran the ball 40 times last game and just pretty much gave up on the pass, because first play of the game, Mike Glennon drops back to pass. Right tackle, there's some kind of mishap of communication on the front offensive line. Right tackle just completely lets the defensive end go. Blindside hit right on Mike Glennon. He fumbles it. They almost score on the first play of the game. So then Freddie Kitchens is just like, yo, we're just going to run the ball the whole game. They got Saquon over 100 yards. So, I think that's one way that the Giants could win the game, or pitch like, you know, virtually a defensive shutout, you know, and try to hold Washington to like 3 or 7 points, because our offense we struggle. We can't score points.
So kind of getting back to Saquon, right?
Yeah, that's good.
He's a little bit of an enigma for me, because first of all, and you can pick drafts apart, you know, for every single team. But when the Giants picked him 2nd overall a few years ago, they passed on guys like Quentin Nelson and Josh Allen and Minka Fitzpatrick, you know, guys like that who are just absolute studs now. And really, in my mind, and most people's minds, what are you doing drafting a running back number 2 overall? Those guys are kind of a dime a dozen. When he was drafted, did you think that, first of all, he should have been drafted 2nd overall? And now, looking back, is he that cornerstone piece that you need at running back, or that you think you may need at running back for the Giants?
Okay, so I'll start with the first half of that. Like, when we drafted Saquon Barkley at number 2, I was totally good with it. You just, you know, all the hype that was surrounding Saquon Barkley, combine hype, statistic hype, highlight tape, all of that. It looked perfect. And as a Giants fan at that time, you're not looking at the team that we're looking at now. We're looking at it like, hey, 2016, we were right there. Okay, won the division, 10-6. Eli Manning is declining a little bit, but you're looking at a guy who still has a lot of gas left in the tank. 2017, they tried to make the move on Brandon Marshall at wide receiver, and it really fell apart that year. They spent $200 million on the defense, very similar to what they did entering this season. They spent $200 million on the defense, right? And all the injuries accumulated just really fell apart. This is the year that Geno Smith got to start at quarterback. You know, they benched Eli. Ben McAdoo wanted to get Patrick Mahomes in the next draft. The Giants didn't want to go with that.
Wow.
And things start to decline. You know, you can't really sense it at the time. But they go out there and they reach in 2019 and draft Daniel Jones at number 6 after drafting Saquon Barkley. So for me, it tells me that they were thinking about the quarterback position the whole time, right? But they didn't want to pass up on trying to give Eli Manning one more chance in 2018. So if the goal was to give Eli Manning one more chance, I'm looking at an offensive roster at the time that looked pretty like you could win some games. You had Sterling Shepard out there playing some good ball from the slot. You still had Odell Beckham on the roster. Granted, he was coming off an injury, but we knew what Odell Beckham was. And I think now with the Rams, you kind of see what Odell Beckham still is. And I was looking at it like you're building a young trio here by the time we got to 2019. You get the running back. It's very unorthodox to draft a running back that high. And just drafting a running back in the first round when you're in a rebuild mode. But I think that even Dave Gettleman admitted this. He said, there's no reason why we can't rebuild this team and win at the same time. So they were trying to just feed that Eli Manning beast and be able to try to win games. Now, the thing about Saquon Barkley is with Eli Manning under the center, it made Saquon Barkley a even better running back than he really is because now you have a veteran quarterback that's going to put the running back in position every play. There's never going to be a time where you're out of position with a guy like Eli Manning on the field. Victor Cruz and Mario Manningham have a detailed interview where they talked about this. On Fridays, they would always meet up with Eli Manning. They talked about this about the 2011 Super Bowl run. They'd meet up with Eli Manning and just go over little nuances and little checks that they would have before they go into the game on Sunday. Now, I think that not only for Saquon Barkley, but for the rest of the team, when you bring in Eli Manning in 2019, you're paying him $20 million, and you only started him for 2 games and then benched him, and then now you got Daniel Jones starting against the Bucs week 3. You're throwing a rookie quarterback out there. So you kind of abandoned the plan that you really had. I think it would have been more beneficial for everybody, for Saquon Barkley especially, to finish out that season with Eli Manning, and maybe he doesn't get hurt. Granted, in 2019, Saquon Barkley still did run for 1,000 yards, even with the high ankle sprain. I think he's shown that when he's healthy, he's one of the most deadliest players in the league. But that style of running back is slowly but surely seeing its way out of the league. That's a true hybrid running back in Saquon Barkley. Look at Christian McCaffrey over there with the Carolina Panthers. It's pretty much the exact same story. The kid can't stay healthy because they're trying to run him between the tackles, but also have him do all the things that Alvin Kamara does outside in the passing game. You got to find a coach like Sean Payton that's going to be able to utilize a guy like Saquon Barkley proper. Now that the Giants are in 1,000% rebuild mode, the pick at number 2 looks a little bit crazy. But I think at quarterback with Josh Allen, or no, it wasn't. Josh Allen was the next year, I believe, the quarterback Josh Allen, right?
That's a good question. Maybe it was the next year.
It was because it was Patrick Mahomes.
No, it was that year.
It was that year. So the DN Josh Allen was the following year. So Josh Allen's a guy that he wasn't the highest touted quarterback on people's radars. I think got picked at number 7 with the Buffalo Bills. So I don't think he was an option for the Giants at that point. You could have definitely went offensive line for sure. But the Giants have always neglected that. You know, they've always tried. The Jerry Reese era especially was always trying to get offensive weapons. They neglected the offensive line all the way from 2011 until Jerry Reese left in 2018. And it worked. When you look at the 2011 Giants Super Bowl team, they were dead last in rushing in the league. They averaged 88 yards per game. They had the 31st ranked offensive line. They just turned it on at the right moment. Eli Manning played average football just long enough to give them a shot to get to the playoffs. And we know Eli Manning's the most clutch quarterback in NFL history when it comes to the playoffs. So it shows that all you got to do is just give these guys a chance. You know, I'm just keeping it funky with y'all. You know? With Barkley, it looks worse now. You know, it's like you're looking at a guy who kind of feels like he might be on the decline a little bit after the knee injury. And Giants fans were just super hopeful this year. They're just like, oh, he'll come back. He'll pull an Adrian Peterson. He's going to be the first or the second running back to do what Adrian Peterson did. You know, it's just a lot of hope and a lot of optimism. But when you look at it realistically, man, you know, he shouldn't be back to full 100% healthy probably until next year. And I've always been saying this, you know, you got to address the second running back position with Saquon Barkley. It's exactly why the Saints went back out and got Mark Ingram, because they realized Kamara's a fantastic back, right? But he's never had 1,000 yards, not once in his whole entire career on the ground. And there's a reason for that. He stays durable. He's rarely hurt. I know he was banged up for a little bit this season, but he's not hurt like CMC and like Saquon Barkley is, because he's not getting that crazy workload. You got to find a way to do that with Saquon Barkley, and you really only got one more season to do it. You extended him for the extra year, but it's like, I think after that year, you're going to have to let Saquon Barkley walk if he demands big money. And same thing for Daniel Jones. I mean, both these guys, Daniel Jones is now going into the 4th year. He's got a 5th-year option that needs to be signed by May, or the Giants are going to owe him $20 million plus. I mean, what do we look like paying Daniel Jones that? You know, we're going to have to probably do a Washington move here and franchise tag him. If indeed he does play well this next year. But I still think you got to go out there and draft that quarterback. If you draft that quarterback, you can have him learn on the bench for a year, and he doesn't have to be thrusted into this chaos right off the bat and try to be a starter. We see what happens to quarterbacks on bad teams. Trevor Lawrence, perfect example this year. He comes out, this guy's the best quarterback prospect since probably Andrew Luck. He's had a horrible year. Davis Mills is playing better football than Trevor Lawrence is. Zach Wilson over there with the Jets. Looks like he's got all the intangibles to be a good quarterback, can run, big arm, throw it, all of that. Mobile, blah, blah, blah. Playing terrible football over there with the Jets, but that's because they're on terrible teams. So for me, I don't want to bring in a quarterback, whether it be a stopgap quarterback, a veteran quarterback who's already proven it, or a rookie quarterback into a situation like this and expect some wins.
Very nice, bro.
Man. That's
I know. I could just sit here and like keep going and going and going.
Oh man, I can talk football all day, bro.
Yeah,
and you absolutely do. And we listen to quite a bit of it. Maybe not as much on your Giant overreaction, but if you're a Giants fan and you have not subbed to Awthentik and The Beard, do so right now. That's the YouTube channel that they're on, and then you can catch his Giant overreaction show usually on Mondays, right?
Yep.
So you'll catch that on Mondays, and then you can catch Awthentik on The Beard. Their other programming throughout the week as well. They're amazing, as you can hear right here on Ref the District. Now,
I have one more question for him, Nathan.
Okay, go ahead, because I was going to ask one, but you got one. Go ahead.
No, Nathan, you go. You haven't asked in a long time. You go.
How do you feel this game Sunday is going to play out?
I think it'll be fairly low scoring, because you guys are kind of falling apart here. I don't, it's interesting, man. I've been saying this a lot. You either have a franchise quarterback or you got a quarterback that needs a hell of a running game. One of the two. Taylor Heineke has shown you that he could do some things. That kid can wheel in the pocket. He can do a lot of things, but he don't got the arm strength. Accuracy lacks. He throws high every now and again. But when you don't have McKissick on the field and you have Antonio Gibson not running the ball well, there's really no formula to win the games with Taylor Heineke at quarterback, and that's a big limitation for Washington. I knew last week when you guys were playing your game, that was against the Philadelphia Eagles, about the third quarter, I was like, even though y'all had the lead at half, I was like, nah, they going to choke. They not going to win this game. They don't got what it takes here without their primetime players. Y'all need some more weapons on your offensive side of the ball. I know you guys thought Curtis Samuel was going to be that this year. I thought he was going to be it too. Coming off like 100 catches over there in Carolina. He just can't get it together.
What the hell?
Yeah, that the groin injury, man, those leg injuries
those
like
are
that,
real.
they really keep people out, man. But I expect it to be fairly low scoring unless the Giants can't stop the run. If we can't stop the run, then I'm looking at something maybe like Washington 27-6, something like that. Yeah, if we can stop the run, I think it'll be a little bit closer. It might give us a chance to win the game. But I still would pick Washington to win this game probably like I just don't see the Giants scoring more than 6. I'm going to say like 17-6, 14-6.
I'm not going to lie. This is the most confident I've been about an opponent all season long.
We're bad, man. We're bad. And it starts from the head up, man. Like the coaches just don't know what they're doing. Joe Judge went out here, hired a bunch of his friends. And, he complained about the Jason Garrett hiring all year long and finally got his way and fired him. And this offense has been terrible. Let me give y'all a couple of statistics since Joe Judge has been here. I got them up here right here. Points per game. The Giants are 32nd since hiring Joe Judge with 16.5 points per game. Ooh. Yards per game, 296 total yards per game. You see Dak Prescott go out there and put up 300 by himself damn near every week. That's 32nd since he's been the coach for the Giants. 4.8 yards per play, that's 32nd. And red zone efficiency at 46%, that's 32nd. So there's really no hope for the New York Giants right now, especially when you don't got Daniel Jones out there who, like I said, I think he's an average quarterback. But when you have Daniel Jones out there, he has a skill set that allows you to at least kind of move the ball. You can move the sticks a little bit and, hope.
He's elite against Washington.
He's elite against Washington. 5-1, I believe he is.
Yeah, first loss came earlier this season, and it was off of a penalty that gave Washington a second chance there.
Oh, yeah. I was at that game, went from cheering, talking a lot of smack. I was sitting in the end zone. Where that railing fell down on them on Jalen Hurts this past weekend. Thank God that, I was there early in the season. But, you see the kick go wide and everybody starts celebrating, and then there you see that paint on the field.
Yeah, laundry's on the field.
The second one was going to go good, and, the referees didn't correct that. They said or whatever that he wasn't really offsides. But I saw a little bit of a hiccup in his 3-point stance. I'm not mad at it. I think it was the right call.
So, Awthentik, you own the Giants. Your very first move in the offseason, what is it?
Oh, you firing Dave Gettleman right off the bat, and then I'm firing Joe Judge right after that.
Same day?
Bringing in my GM and then bringing in my head coach.
That makes sense.
GM first. Not going to go the coach as the GM route that Washington went with.
Coach picks the GM.
Nah, I wouldn't go that route. And I think you guys are in a much better place than the New York Giants are right now. Because y'all could go out into this draft a quarterback, get another weapon somehow, whether it be in free agency or maybe even in the draft. And y'all could be right back. Y'all could be right there. Y'all got the defensive pieces. You spent the first round stock on the defensive line. The defensive line should improve. We know y'all had a setback this year. And Chase Young and Montez Sweat weren't looking like their normal selves in the beginning of the year. But those two guys are definitely a force to be reckoned with. And I think you guys are just in a really good place. I think, it's not a horrible place you're in right now. If you could get a quarterback who's a guy, I mean, like a Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert,
there you go, Stoner.
You get somebody like that, it's really going to elevate that offense with another weapon over there. Because even when you look at the Bengals, man, they didn't look like they had those crazy weapons. I know Jamar Chase came in here as a rookie. He's doing big things. But even Tyler Boyd and Higgins, they've been balling out. And Joe Mixon has had a kind of like a revival to his career.
I was going to say, they've all been there.
Happens with the good quarterback, man. They have one of the worst offensive lines right now. Joe Burrow been sacked like 50-plus times.
A good quarterback fixes a whole lot of things, but
I have one more. I'm so sorry,
guys. Fix. No, go ahead, Trev.
So sorry. Authentic. Do you think your offensive line is going to come from the draft or a veteran free agency?
We don't have enough money to go free agent route right now. The Giants, I think, are 31st as far as cap space goes. We're strapped for cash right now. Like, only got about $5 million or $8 million or something like that. So I don't think we'll do the free agent route. I definitely think we're going to spend at least one of these first-round draft picks on an offensive line. Probably going to be a right tackle is what it's looking like, or possibly the center that's out there. I know we got a big center prospect as well. And Giants need some pass rush. I mean, they did hit with Azeez Ojulari last year. He's got 8.5 sacks, I believe, on the season right now. If they could pair somebody else young with him, I think that'd be a cool move to go maybe offensive line, edge rusher, and then hopefully Malik Willis is there for me right at the end of the or at the beginning of the second round, man, and we can scoop Malik Willis. I'll be very happy with that.
Very nice.
All right, so I do have one final one.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. I'm not even used to like doing short format like this, where you got to put it together like 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. We do like 3-hour podcasts or whatnot.
This one I want in 2 sentences.
Okay.
Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
Oh, man, I don't even need 2 sentences for that.
I mean, you already heard the man say the most clutch guy in playoffs.
I could do it in 2 words.
2 words.
2
yes, sir.
Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
That's
all
enough
it
for you
takes.
to get in right there.
That's
Ben Roethlisberger should be in the Hall of Fame as well. He got 2 Super Bowls as well. And you also can't forget about this. A lot of people like to look at the statistics, look at the numbers. Eli Manning, 500 on the career as far as wins and losses and all that. You really got to look at this, though. Durability. And to be durable in the NFL, you got to be available. And Eli Manning never missed no games.
No, he didn't.
You can break a lot of records doing that because I use my eyes. With the eye test, Eli Manning doesn't look like a top 25 quarterback in the NFL to me. But when you look at the statistics, yards, touchdowns, Eli Manning is up there in all of these statistics. And then when you talk about that clutch gene, look at playoff statistics. There is no run better than Eli Manning's 2007 run or the 2011 run. If your boy Plaxico Burress didn't shoot himself, the Giants probably repeat in 2012. Don't forget, we were off to a hot start. So Eli Manning, 2 Super Bowls, guaranteed Hall of Famer, should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And the kid was tough as nails, man. I mean, you look at the playoff game against San Francisco, offensive line was doing jack for him. He was getting smacked all over the field. His helmet was halfway off his face, chin strap on his nose. He's getting up, still making throws.
What you guys did that year, you won all your road games in Green Bay and somewhere else, and then that
both
was
of those
very
were
impressive
runs.
It was a very impressive run, man. I haven't seen nothing like it. And then you think about the 2 clutch throws. You could talk about the clutch runs, and then you could talk about the 2 clutch throws. The David Tyree catch, the helmet catch in 2007, how he just peels out of the pocket, finds a way to get out of there, does a crazy throw high up, makes the catch. And a lot of people used to criticize him from about from 2007 to about 2011. Right before 2011, people would say he got lucky. So he gave y'all the Manningham throw in 2011.
Yes.
Maybe one of the best Super Bowl throws we've ever seen right up there with Ben Roethlisberger.
And catches.
A lot of people don't credit that catch. That
was
an amazing catch.
If he didn't catch that, no one's talking about the throw. So just saying.
Not a soul, not a soul. And over the shoulder for the wide receiver, I used to play wide receiver, man. That's the toughest catch.
Also, Authentic, nice hoodie. I have the same one in my house, bro.
Oh, word! Thank you, man. My shorty just got me this joint for Christmas. Actually, man, I had it on yesterday on the podcast too. I woke up. I'm still in pajamas, man. I just been chilling.
Who cares, bro?
It snowed out here.
That's
Y'all know
all
the
good.
vibes, man.
Yeah, we got snow here too.
We got
I
all
got one more. I
We're gonna let our man Authentic head out here.
Before I get off though, let me.
yeah.
I want to get y'all assessment on the game real quick
Of
too.
course.
Score, a little score prediction, a little bit of why maybe.
I'll start. I think it's going to be, like you said, 27-6, 27-13, 24-13, something like that. I just think that we were talking about this before you got on. All of our starters who were still left outside of injury and COVID, they want to play this game. They want to win this game. They've lost 4 in a row. We want to end this game with a win and have something to look forward to in the offseason because we believe in Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera believes in them, so why not give him a W? So I think we're just going to come out and dominate and end the season in the right way, honestly. We have to. We have to. There's no way.
Y'all really got that. Y'all remind me of the 2020 New York Giants fan base. We're like, let's finish strong. You know,
got
we
to,
gotta
bro.
do. We were trying to get
Seriously.
to 6 wins, man, and now I look back at it. I'm like, man, that was a curse, man. I wish we would have just fired Joe Judge after that first season, man.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, man. I'm not giving up on Ron just yet. He's got one more year in my book. One more year.
Real quickly on Ron. Let me tell you something about Ron that he's been a good coach, but these 2 things have been like red flags for me. 2 years in a row, he botched the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
The first year with Dwayne Haskins, he said, this kid knows the playbook. He's ready. Whoever knows it the most is going to be the starter. And then mid-season came back, double back, and said, oh, we got to start the guy that knows the playbook the most, and then, ends up benching Dwayne Haskins. This year, Washington goes out there, spends that $10 million on Ryan Fitzpatrick. We only got to see him for about a good 10 snaps, but he looked awful. Right. And Taylor Heineke was definitely the better option of what was on the roster. So, for Ron Rivera, that worries me a little bit.
I think it's like his first full year with the front office staff that he assembled to go about the offseason moves. So that's the only hope I have going with him too, that the people he brought in last year, they've got to look at this whole entire season to see where we're lacking, where we're strong at, so they can kind of maybe help him decide on what quarterback to bring in.
Let them find the QB. So take it out of his.
Linebacker should not be picking quarterbacks in the draft. Just saying. Go ahead. That's mine.
Stoner, who do you got for this game?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be low scoring. I think there's going to be a lot of running. There's going to be a lot of running on both sides because both teams pretty much just want to get this game over with and get to the offseason.
No injuries.
Get out on the golf course, head south, go to the golf course, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I'm looking at it about like a 20 to 19.
Ooh.
That's what?
One of my
19.
That's one of my famous.
That's 19 is a lot.
More than scored in like 3 games combined. Like offensive explosion. I think the Giants fans would be very excited if that's the case. So they were able to put up 19 points in one game.
Don't let us get over 20. 20, we're gonna lose our minds.
Right.
Well, I think that the defense actually might be able to. I don't think they'll be able to pitch the shutout, but I think they're capable of it with how bad the Giants have been. But I just don't have any faith in Washington's offense to put up points. So I'm going to go 17-3. Washington is how
a dub is a dub. We'll take it.
And I mean, no one was thinking that the Chicago Bears were going to put up a lot of points on the Giants. And I mean, they blew us out. That offense is not impressive, especially with Andy Dalton, man. We'll see, man. It's going to be an interesting game for sure, man. I'm looking forward to it. But I always tell people like bad Giants football is better than no Giants football. I'm gonna miss the season when we hit the off season here. It's definitely gonna be tough. And I see a couple of my day ones in here. I just want to shout them out real quick. My homie Nick DeWitt, NTW, and my homie Joel, Classified with Joel, man. 2 of my good homies from the Giants community. And Queen Marjorie is in the building, man. They came to show up and show out. So shout out to the Giants Nation.
Much appreciated to the Authentic and the Beard crowd that came out and have subbed. We were going to, the shout outs. Thanks for taking those. Nick the Wick has gotten all sorts of things. He thinks it's going to be 28-3 Washington. He's also got the over under set at 50 yards of offense for the Giants, and he's taking the under. And
he also said 19 for the Giants.
Over,
is like this comment
Nick's flying. Yeah.
No bull. So, that's facts, Nick. That's facts.
So Marjorie is betting Gano could at least kick 2 field goals. That's probably fair. I do think that Washington. It's either going to be a shutout or it's going to be one of these games. Or I think you'll be able to get a couple.
Not Miss Graham Gano.
Well, Authentic, we appreciate you joining us here on episode 50 of Ref the District to talk the New York Giants. You can catch Authentic on Awthentik and The Beard, their YouTube channel. If you're one of our guys, our team, our Ref the District fans, go out to their channel. You will not be disappointed. It is the best show not on television. You can catch them. You can also catch Authentic.
Got to give you a little correction there. The best television show not on television.
There we go. The best television show. That's Stoner's bad. Didn't get that in the writing. You can catch him also on that channel for the Giant Overreaction. He's got one more this season, and you'll want to check that one out because if Washington wins this game in the fashion I hope they do, that one's going to be a good one to watch. And you can also check out his original music. His latest project is The Color of Us. Check that out at authentic.bandcamp.com. Appreciate you, man, for joining us.
Hey, appreciate y'all having me on, man. We got to do this again for sure. And maybe I can bring y'all on our channel sometime soon, too.
Absolutely. We would absolutely love to. All right, Authentic, thanks for joining us. When we come back, we'll be talking more DC sports here on Ref the District. Oh, it's so good to have him on there on the channel.
I can talk to him.
Him and the Beard, man, they're really, really good. Again, I cannot hit that enough for our listeners. Check them out. Absolutely stone cold good. We are now in the cool down session of our episode 50 here.
Okay.
Let's get over to the Wizard side of the house. So I'm going to change up a little bit. Is Koozie Clutch Koozie? Is he the real deal for the Wizards?
I'm gonna start off by saying yes. And the reason why I'm saying yes is because I think he's had this in him almost the whole time, his whole career. It's just been overshadowed in LA with LeBron James.
He says, I've always been this guy.
And people who normally say that normally haven't been that way, but I mean, even when he was in LA, he was a serviceable role player. I mean, at times he was bad, at times he was really good. But now that he's got a chance to be that second, third option, in the spotlight too. He's really getting a chance to showcase what he can do on the floor, and he's proven that by being clutch coup. So yeah, I think he's the real deal for sure.
I'm not 100% sold yet. I can be sold. I'm a little on, because of that, he hasn't been the man ever, right? In the pro, in the NBA.
Never.
So, but they are running plays for him, and he is coming through, especially in the clutch. He is getting that nickname Clutch Coos because he's hitting some big shots. Before they lost to Chicago on that crazy DeRozan 3, they took the lead because of Kuzma hitting that 3 right before that with like 2 seconds left or whatever. And in this last game, he hit like 3 threes in the last 2.5 minutes against Charlotte. He was amazing. He's been doing that all year. I just hope he can keep it up. It's a little too early. It's a little too early to say it, but I'm certainly hoping that he's the guy. The thing that's been interesting to me with all of these protocols, these health and safety protocols, all these players, like the Dinwiddies and the Netos and the Holidays, those are your 3-point guards. Bradley Beal's been playing point the last couple of games.
Yeah.
And he's responded in 2 games with 25 assists.
Just saying.
And now, all of a sudden, everybody's thinking, well, maybe we need to start playing Bradley Beal, and we need to start moving some of these other pieces around.
I never personally thought Spencer Dinwiddie was a true 1. I thought he was a better suited 2, honestly. He has the build for it. He shoots. He doesn't really facilitate an offense that well.
I think he's just one of the many people who's just better with the ball in their hands. And so I think that's the big thing for a lot of NBA players. I'm going to pick on Stoner here a little bit. He's on the fence. He's on the fence for Kuz. This man goes to bat for Davis Bertans day after day after day.
And look, he's like straight face, like, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, why? Yeah, why? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 10 games he was 45%, and the last 3 games he was 50%.
Those are facts.
He's not.
I don't know what to tell y'all.
I'm happy he's making those. The more he makes, the better trade value he will have for Washington.
He's not getting traded. I'm telling y'all right now.
He probably won't, and neither will this next player that I want to bring up, because this is going to be very interesting when he comes back to the team. What are you going to do with him and Kuzma? And that's Rui. Hashimura is slowly coming back to health. Both of them play that. You play Rui at the 5? I think that's a disaster.
Oh, he's way too small for the 5. He's smaller than Trez. Well, he's probably about the same size as Trez, but
why not put Kuzma and Rui out there at the same time? Take KCP, put him to the bench. I know you guys love KCP.
I'm a KCP. He's in a shooting slump right now, but
he's had a very, very bad stretch here.
All right, so your starting 5 would be Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, Rui, Gafford, and
Kuzma. I just said you put Kuzma at the 4, Gafford at the 5.
I'm not even starting Dinwiddie. I'm starting
Who
Beal.
you putting at the 2?
I'm putting KCP at the 2. I'm putting Beal at the 1, KCP at the 2, Kuzma, Rui, Gafford.
And then Dinwiddie spells Beal and KCP, because they're going to give Dinwiddie
and Corey
20-plus minutes. Kispert, by the way, has been pretty nice.
I've been saying that. That dude's a dog, man. He can play. He's going to be a good player.
Steve knows what I'm talking about. You play Kuz and Rui at the same time. If you play them at the 3 and the 4, I think that you have potential. Rui can hit those outside shots. I think that's something that the team's been missing.
Come on, Minnesota.
What is going on with Rui? Why is it taking him 2.5 months to get into shape?
Well,
He's been with the team for 2.5 months.
Wasn't it like a mental health thing?
Okay,
I do believe
he's back
that
with the
aspect.
team.
I know
he's back with the team. He's been with them for 2.5 months, getting ready for the season.
He comes back after.
What is going on there?
After All-Stars,
I'm not trying to not be considerate of his mental well-being,
but
if you're back with the team.
And that leads to my point. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
if that's what I was saying on like one of the episodes before, and I'm not like you said, I'm not speaking on mental health, none of that. But from the outside, the optics look bad. If you can sit on the bench with your teammates in dress clothes and jump up and down and celebrate when somebody, dunks on the head or hits a 3, if you can dress out and sit, I know, Nathan, I know. But
there's a big difference between that and playing the game. And I don't think it's his decision.
Why is he not ready to play the game?
Talk to the coach. What's Junior say? What's Unseld Junior say? He's the one who's holding back.
It's just bad. I know, like, it's just bad optics saying that he's ramping to get back up with the team. Okay, but then I don't know. It just looks bad.
I would love to see him play with the Go-Go's.
Like, if you're there,
just to see him in action again. But I think they're saving him because they think that he can be a difference maker for this team. And I'm excited. I was excited about him last year. He just wasn't consistent enough. We're talking about Kuzma being consistent. That's something I want to see from Rui, but you got to see him on the court, and he hasn't been there yet. He's getting there. And I do think that we should see him within this month start to eat some of those minutes on the floor. He'll probably start off spelling Kuzma. And then as he gets healthier, maybe then we'll see some of that small ball.
Maybe he's trade bait.
They're making some trades. They
really do need to.
Maybe he's trade bait. Maybe we all say Rui's untouchable, but what if he's not untouchable? Nobody's untouchable, bro. He could be trade bait.
The problem is he hasn't played enough. The Davis Bertans,
which why keep him?
Is where
why
you can't get anything. You can't give anything up, or you can't get anything in return for a guy who's not been playing.
Why trade for him if you're somebody else?
It's just like Thomas Bryant. He's not played. People know what he is, but if they don't know if he's healthy, they're not gonna trade for him. So that's gonna be another interesting one when he comes back. He can stretch, but you want Gafford's. You want his ability to protect the rim. That's why I'm telling you, Trez, I think, is the odd one out there and might be the one. As much as we love him, he's an animal. He's a guy that DC has really rallied behind because he's very energetic. He's like the perfect bench guy.
Get Thomas Bryant out of there.
But
KCP's getting traded. That's who I think's gonna.
I said that as well. You guys were ready to crucify me.
No, I don't want him
to. You two love KCP.
Love KCP.
I mean, he has a ring. He has championship moxie.
Pedigree. Oh, you said moxie.
Yeah.
I heard you.
He's got that moxie word on.
Notice I didn't say it with Taylor Heineke, so I can say it all I want as long as I don't put it with Taylor Heineke.
The Washington's playing Wednesday night. Right? We're playing the Rockets right now as we're doing it. I won't spoil the score.
And if you're watching this broadcast, do not put it in the comments.
Our man Tiho hasn't chimed in yet, so I'm going to assume that he's not there and he won't spoil it for us. Shout out to Tiho one time.
What do you guys see in Thomas Bryant? Can we move on from him, please?
You have maybe after the season. Yeah. You know, that's
after the season,
you're not going to get anything in return for him. That's the problem. He hasn't played. He hasn't played. You're not going to get anything for him. If he had an expiring contract, maybe someone would take him because they wanted to kick the tires on it.
Here's a exercise for you, right? You're the general manager of the Pacers.
Okay.
And the Wiz call you up and say, "Hey, I got Thomas Bryant for you." You making that deal?
Maybe.
You know, you're not. You just said
maybe
you don't even want him on this team.
He could
want him on your team.
Bro, he could fit the Pacers system over there.
Yeah.
Maybe. But they have Sabonis, so I wouldn't, but a team needy big man I would call. But we need a big man ourselves, and it ain't Thomas Bryant. So we need to go out and get somebody else. Release Thomas Bryant.
I like the dynamic between a healthy Thomas Bryant and a healthy.
He's trash.
But he could give you that three ball.
Nothing.
That's
you know who else gives the three ball? He's trash. Yeah, man, the Stoners man, Davis Bertans.
You don't put that on me.
He gives us
threes too. He's trash. Davis Bertans.
We can't. No, we need somebody to bang with the big boys down low. And Thomas Bryant, his game, he's known for a stretch five. We need a solid five. We don't need any more stretch play big men down low.
We're signing Greg Monroe tomorrow. So
he's a true big man. That's good.
That was a good name to see.
I'll take him over Thomas Bryant any day.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, let's stop talking about the guys who are bubble roster guys, and let's start talking about a man who is an all-time great.
Wayne Gretzky.
You're right. He is.
He's the great one.
Not as good as Ovi though. Just throwing it out there. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That was so hot. My pants are on fire. That one was so hot.
Yeah. Well, his pants are on fire too because he's a liar. But that's besides. Ovi's great. Ovi is going to be. Ovi honestly could be on Mount Rushmore. Yeah. But when all said and done, but Wayne Gretzky is probably the hockey guy.
He's the best of this generation.
I know his nickname's not Mr. Hockey, but Wayne Gretzky is the name everyone thinks of when it comes to hockey.
Who's Mr. Hockey, Trev? Come on.
Patrick Waugh.
Hey, not bad. That was not
Mark
bad.
Messier. Mark Messier.
No, not quite, but that's
Sidney Crosby.
No, you got to go way back.
Them's fighting.
Brett Hull.
Gordie Howe.
That was my next guess. Isn't he a comedian? Isn't Gordie Howe a comedian?
I do think there is a Howe or Gordie or something. But anyways, let's talk about Ovi, who notched his 256th power play goal, breaking the all-time NHL record.
That man's pucking.
Is
that what you would say? Is that what you would say? Is that? I mean, you're balling with the sport with the ball. They have a puck, so he's pucking.
Yeah, he's been pucking lately.
He's definitely been pucking. He is one of the biggest reasons that Washington stays as great as they have been this season. Washington, by the way, Washington Capitals have their throwback joke for, I think it was episode 48 there. The Metropolitan.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. The biggest flaw in their game seems to be they can't win overtime games again. So it's like they lost again to the Devils in overtime.
Well, then Stoner, what needs to change for them to avoid overtime? Like
right now their biggest problem is their power play, which is one of the most feared over the last 10 years. Obviously, you got Ovi sitting over there just waiting for somebody to feed him so he can smash one. He's done it better than anybody else in the history of the sport. But they're not gelling this year. The power play is not. They're like 25th in the league in the power play goals, which is really bad, or percentage. And it's mainly because of their injuries and their COVID situation. They're like with everybody else. They're losing guys. They don't have the same guys consistently out on the power play that they've had for 5, 6, 7 straight years, where they all know each other and they're trying all these different parts, and it's just not working right now. Hopefully, now everybody's, maybe this isn't politically correct. Now that everybody's had COVID and they can move on with their life, right? Everybody except Ovi, I think. So they've all had.
I love you, Stoner.
So
don't ever change.
Into health.
The Capitals just said, you know what? Everybody get in the same room. They did the '90s mom chickenpox remedy. We're just like, oh, you can't have chickenpox. Let me bring my kid over. Bring my kid over.
That's right. That's right. So hopefully now they can get all healthy and they can get that power play going, and that's been their biggest weakness. So stay away from overtime because they're just terrible in overtime.
They've got one victory in overtime this entire season.
That was like most recent, like the past 2
losses.
weeks or something like that.
I was about to say 8 losses. Yeah, so it's not been a good season for them in overtime, but it's been a good season so far overall. Hope to have some more good games. They've got a couple games coming up this week as well.
Friday, they're supposed to play tonight, but they can't get into Canada because of the COVID restrictions of traveling into Canada. So they had to postpone that one. So the next game's Friday.
Against the Blues, who have 43. Right? St. Louis Blues, who have 43 points. So that should be a good matchup there.
Yep.
And then on Saturday, they'll go face the Minnesota Wild. 40 points there, so not a bad team either. So a couple road games here where it should be a good test for the Capitals. See where Ovi ends up. Where's he, Stoner? You've been doing a good job giving us that countdown for where he is.
Yeah.
How many goals is he on?
Oh,
and where is he at on the list? How close is he to that next spot?
Hang on. Let me check.
You
He's
had
at
this information.
He's at 753.
And what's the number?
I believe is
what's the goal?
4th. The goal is 8 something. Like he's got another few seasons to get to that. But it's very likely that he will get there. He did also pass. Who did he pass recently on the points list? Total points?
That graphic. Total points. He just passed somebody for 25th. He's now 25th all time for total points.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive player. Watch him Friday against the Blues, and then again Saturday against the Wild. We have one last thing to talk about, and it's all bets aside. If you missed Sunday's show, you missed out on some money. We gave you the golden bets. So you're gonna have to check us out this Sunday at 11 a.m. We'll be live on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and we'll be doing all bets aside this week. The game of the week will be Washington against the Giants, and we are also doing a special game of the week, which will be the BCS championship game with Alabama and Georgia.
Go Tigers!
Yep.
You also got your lock of the week and your upset of the week, and then we'll be bringing you Dala, as well as our ref the parlay, which did not hit.
Nope, but it will. Don't worry, it will.
So, question.
Answer.
On Monday's show for our Day After Reckoning, are we still going to be wearing this stuff, or do we retire it and go back to or what? We're just going to be wearing our own thing. Like, how does this work since we're getting rebranded?
Well, the Stoner's still wearing a Redskins hat back there. We've got some Redskins stuff around the house. I know you've got some.
Wear whatever you want, Trev.
That's what I was
just like Jason Wright told us at training camp,
which was so fun.
Who signed that hat? Yeah, remember that? That was a great time. He signed Stoner's hat, and he let Stoner know directly that they are not going to stop people from wearing that stuff, and we're going to continue wearing all the stuff. I think the W's clean, but I'm really looking forward to that name. Of course,
we got to win.
Going to release that on Groundhog's Day, 2-2-22. And yes, absolutely, we
gotta
have to
win
against the Giants. I think that they have an absolute good shot at shutting them out.
That was a bold take. That was a bold take.
Even if they only score 17 points, I'll take a 17-0 victory.
Heck yeah.
That'd be pretty nice to see.
I was looking for a broom because we're gonna sweep them Giants.
And I got a source. I got a message before the show. I cannot reveal such source, but I was told that they hope that we beat the New York Giants. You know what? I cannot release the sources at anonymity.
Does it rhyme?
Because they have a reputation to uphold, they told me. But
with Matey Haiti.
Yeah. Does it
You know what? You know what? I'm a realist.
Lady?
And we all have reputations. So yes, indeed. Sorry, Katie. It was Katie. She DM'd me on Facebook and
That's all right, because if we all bring, if we do sweep the Giants and we bring brooms, we're going to be no better than Washington bringing benches to Dallas, and she will call us out on it. Absolutely.
That's fine.
That'll be fine.
I'll deny it, but I hope Washington team whoops their ass.
There it is. Sorry,
you you can catch us Sunday at 11 doing All Bets Aside. Then we'll be streaming the game against the Giants. So you catch our stream for that. That'll also be Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And then you'll catch our Day After Reckoning. We have a special guest who I have to let Stoner introduce because we know that that's his man.
Oh, yeah. On Monday's Day After Reckoning, we have EB from the Junkies.
Hey.
He will be on there with us. He was on our very first regular season game, Day After Reckoning. And so he will be on our last regular season game, Day After Reckoning, on Monday. So EB from the Junkies at about 7:15/7:20 on Monday.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 50 here for Ref the District. We appreciate your support. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are sponsored by Skybar and Pacers Running, and your support. Every subscription counts. Every view counts. We appreciate you. And until next time, be a fan.
We love Washington, and we saw them die hard fans. Yeah, we are. You know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about the offense. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And they gifted. We are Ref the District. Podcast. Come on now and join us. You join it.